This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody, and welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, I'm here with my only friends. And, you know, my man Berkey, he's still fucking fighting in this main right now.
I'm hanging on. I'm hanging on by the skin of my teeth. I managed to bag 15 big blinds. I hate tournaments, man, so badly.
Why? They're so much fun.
What's fun about being miserable all day long, having to fold suited hands, looking at Queen 10 suited and facing a raise and saying like,
It's just the way you look at life. It's about survival, man. It's okay. You can muck the Queen 10 suited.
I don't. That's the thing.
You
I don't want
didn't
to play.
muck it, did you?
I want. Yeah, I mucked it. I want to. I have an abundance mindset, Conrad. You know, I want to play something where I can get in there, splash around, try to accumulate some chips. You know, the good old fashioned way. Not sit here with 15 big blinds and wonder like, when are the next 80 people gonna bust? That's what I'm resigned to right now. I'm resigned to playing some sort of like quasi satellite format where we're too far away for me to just fold my way into the money.
Sure.
But I have 15 big blinds, so I have to like preserve.
You gotta fight it out, bro.
Yeah, I don't have the heart for this, man. I don't have the heart for this at all. Sarah understands.
Fully. Today's the big day. You know,
Moving day.
We're gonna get into the money. Nobody else showed up for the podcast apparently. Like we're the only ones
This
left.
is the crew for the rest of the time. Landon has been rendered speechless. He's become a mute. He's walking around the house with a poster board and a marker.
He's not lying.
I'm being completely
because he
serious.
can't be like actually quiet.
Or he's talking like this.
He hasn't spoken in like 20 hours.
And when did this all emerge? He was
Somewhere
playing
around-
poker. He wasn't talking the rest of the day, right?
No, somewhere around dinner time last night.
Wow.
He just like absolutely trashed his voice. But he's sick. It has to be he's sick. Like
boom,
doesn't just come on.
roasted.
Yeah.
And he's no longer in the tournament either.
No.
No, ace 5 suited got him.
Yeah.
Standard spot for Landon.
See, he also is not built for this life.
No, he's not.
He's just not. Like I had what I thought was a close spot where there went open 3-bet from like low jack, high jack, and I'm in the small blind with jacks, and the effective stacks were chip leader, my man Kazimir. I'm gonna butcher this. My apologies in advance, sir. Kazimir Yankov.
You did great.
He bagged $1 million, all from my table. A lot of it was probably mine, directly or indirectly. I had up to 300 a couple of times, so
A couple times.
I bagged 96. So
A couple times. When you got to 300, did you forget about the survival part?
look, I had good hands. Okay, like I had these stupid spots coming. It was the same person over. Well, actually, I guess it wasn't. But I had the first time I opened ace queen under the gun, get 3-bet by the cutoff, who's like 35 deep.
Okay.
Big blind is a recreational from Vegas that I know relatively well. He's a bit splashy. He cold calls off of 35 from the big blind. I was like, okay, this is a layup, slammies, boom, all in. First guy folds as I expected. Second guy who cold calls, he's gonna call sometimes. We're gonna flip. It's gonna be fine. No big deal. I get a chance to win a big pot. No, he has queens,
No,
Conrad.
no.
He has queens.
Did you find an ace?
No, I flopped the gut shot. No ace. Okay. Later, then the spot comes up. Chip leader opens. This kid off of 42, 3-bets, hijack, low jack. I'm in the small blind with jacks. This feels close to me.
This is like the shittiest spot ever. We were talking about it last night.
Only because it's live.
Yeah, I know. If it's online, you're like, high five.
Yeah, I can't wait to shove.
Yeah, but like it's live. And
But my instincts live, I'm just like looking at this. I'm just like, this is a $25,000 buy-in. I don't know what this money means to these people. And like, it's $4 million up top.
and then you just try to like figure it out. Like, all right, well, what does this mean to you? Like to this person, like what does this mean? And it's like, fuck, man, he just has queens plus.
Well, he doesn't. No, when all the money goes in, he has queens plus.
Yes.
Yeah, but like, you still have jacks and the money doesn't always go in. So it's like, let's just win 12 big blinds some of the time. That seems like a good outcome. Fortunately, I covered him because he also had queens. And it left me with 20 bigs and I bagged 15.
Yeah, I mean,
The thing is,
when you have jacks, they don't.
About 10 years ago at the World Series, 10 years ago? Yeah, roughly 10 to 12 years ago, somewhere in that frame. I ran into Jason Kuhn after bubbling a 1K.
Okay.
So back then, you made the money at the end of day one. You played till like midnight, bubble burst somewhere around like 11:30, 12 o'clock, right? And I had piles on dinner, just piles. And he was at my table, and he got himself crippled down to like 4 or 5 big blinds. And I was like, R.I.P. Jason, our table broke, whatever. I end up bubbling.
And he won the tournament.
I end up bubbling, and I run into him 2 days later as he and Brent Hanks are at the final table of this 1K. And I look at him, I go, what the fuck, bro? Like, I got in with my last 35 and deuces because I felt like I was short.
And deuces?
Look, man, it was
12 years ago. 12 years ago. Understood.
But yeah, basically, I 3-bet jammed deuces versus like under the gun 1.
Landon would approve.
No. No. It was so bad, man. I remember telling Dan the hand, and he was just like, what are you doing? I'm like, he didn't have to have it.
Uncle Dan, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So I run into Jason, and I'm
best.
just like, what? How the fuck did you final table this, man? You had 4 big blinds. What?
Uncle Dan.
Uncle Dan.
He's just staring at
That's
you.
like the creepiest Uncle Dan picture I've ever seen. Just like
We have a whole Rolodex of them
in
on
your
deck.
face. In your face.
We have a whole Rolodex of them. So I run into Jason. I'm like, how? Just like how? Like, how good do you run, man? He just looks at me. He goes, you just have to have the heart, man.
You dig?
And at that very moment, I knew I did not have the heart.
The heart,
Yeah.
the patience. I saw Phil Bort yesterday, and I've talked to him lots of times, and there have been so many times I've seen him in a tournament with less than 7 big blinds, and then seen him close to the final day. He hasn't had a lot of the big moments in the live tournament scene, but I think, heart, yeah, but like just so much patience.
Yeah.
It's fine. Just fold it. Just fold it in one.
I
time.
have the heart to lose an actual physical $1 million pot.
Yeah.
And then put another buy-in on the table.
That's hard. Like
That-
I feel like that's hard.
That I have the stomach for. I'm here for it because, just keep me in the arena long enough. You can't eject me.
You see, that's the thing. He's scared of ejection.
I don't want to get through. I don't want the rejection. I don't want to be told you have to exit the arena now, sir.
Do you think though, if you had a really big tournament score, like maybe this year, next year, that your sentiment towards the live tournament experience might shift a little bit?
He cast a tournament for $1.4 million at Once Upon a Time.
So it doesn't matter to you. That doesn't change anything.
I put on a certain persona when I'm on this show. I love tournament. Well, I don't love tournaments. I'm not going to go that far. But I love the idea of them.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of things that I'm a curmudgeon about that I'm actually not deep down a curmudgeon about.
Okay.
But like as a cash game player, I just have to shit on tournaments.
Yeah.
It's like, it's part of the shtick.
I've seen recently though, I think I've seen a lot of players who were very much cash game players make the shift in the last couple of years to the live space. And I've been surprised to kind of hear, I feel like there's been
We have no
shift.
choice.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's because they're not allowed in games anymore.
Yeah, we have no choice.
Literally no
It
choice.
happens to everyone eventually.
It's just open fields.
Tournament poker is absolutely booming. Just
Yeah.
booming. I mean, there is a mass rush of money and flooding into the market in tournament poker, and cash games are absolutely going private and dying. So it's like, we have no choice. If you want to continue to make a living at this, like, you better get good at ICM. And I don't like the idea of some model telling me that I have to fold good hands because it's worth dollars. Like, when did I get into a game where folding makes you money? That was never the case.
Hey,
And
Matt.
it's so like today is the, I mean,
No,
it's
go ahead.
It's exciting because so many people bust, right? Okay, like crazy hands happen, all ins, but today's also kind of like the worst day because when you're coming into the money, everything is so slow and I have 2 big blinds. Is it possible if it goes around the table this amount of times that we can maybe get in the money? And that is 100%.
When I have all the
most boring
chips,
part.
I love tournaments.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Yeah,
If I
you
came
just
in
get-
today like 100 big blinds, like I would just be, it's a bubble day, baby. Let's go.
That's because it's the field day. You're just like left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Guys, we have a really good question in chat. Sorry to interrupt. Leonard Sharp wants to know if that lanyard on Conrad is so that they can identify the guy who's sleeping in the hotel hallway.
Red flag.
Hallway pass.
Does that media pass get you nap credentials?
You know? I get a little bit of lunch, a little bit of nap credentials. I get a cup of coffee every once in a while.
This is the kind of place where I feel like if you're like out of sight of the guests, they don't mind. They're just like, yeah, do your thing, man.
do
You had,
whatever
you
you
had a
want,
rough day. I understand.
They have no quarrels, whatever. We were in the pool at like 4 a.m. the other day, and they come out there and they're like, hey, you're not allowed in here. He's like, come on, man. Come on. Guy turns around. He's like, I just had to tell you.
Yeah, you know,
That's amazing.
he doesn't get paid enough to
I
police
just had to
this.
tell you, man.
It works in your favor sometimes, I guess, because there's a lot of scenarios here where you're like, man, the Bohemians are not really known for service, maybe necessarily. That's not the like prime focus, but also a very casual approach to rules and things like that. I'm probably take.
Did you ever break into the water slides at Atlantis after hours?
I plead the fifth.
Yeah, that was
I was gonna say
that was a big tradition back in the older PCA days.
I was just saying, I feel like there's a 0% chance she did not. Like, I don't know her, but I feel like there's a 0% chance she did not.
The first time I met Sarah was at PCA 2014, and she was just working the room. I mean, just the hallways, the room, like just lining up drinks with everybody.
The first time that I came on here just a few days ago, you were talking about, your night and drinking and these things. And I was thinking, I can remember hitting the Poker Stars party very hard one time. And I couldn't remember where my room was. And my husband actually was here with me, who's a big guy. And Faraj Daka was like, hey, I know where your room is. Like, I'm on the same floor as you. I would like to take you to your room so that you like don't die on the way there because you cannot walk. But I'm afraid of your husband. So you're going to have to figure this shit out yourself. I was like, okay, cool. I must have made it back somehow.
Could you point me in the right direction?
Yeah, like there've been some ugly Bohemian moments for me.
That's great.
That's what we're all here for.
Yeah.
A less ugly moment that I experienced, actually a very surreal one. On day one dinner break, I snuck my way back here to do work because the grind never stops.
Dude, you're very impressive. I'll be honest with you.
I have to tell you. So this is I don't know how much of this is correlated, but I started taking a new supplement protocol, and I've been following Huberman Lab very closely, and he suggested this stuff called Tanga Ali, and it's supposed to like have some sort of like cognitive effects and a slight increase in your testosterone, whatever. I am absolutely wired, like 24/7. I am just like 6 hours of sleep, ready to fucking crush.
Dude, you need to text me this immediately because I originally thought that about Adderall, and then it has a big downside. There's a large downside to that.
Yeah,
so.
I'm pretty sure this just comes from a mushroom. It's just like a little natural boost.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's been great. But anyway, I come back here and I'm like creating the thumbnail for the next day, and I'm minding my business, like eating my chicken and rice, going off. And I take a look up out of the corner of my eye, and I see this older gentleman with a blazer and a Poker Stars patch like walking towards me.
Oh, no.
And my mind immediately just goes to, oh, okay, like this is Poker Stars brass, like, put on your best face, shake some hands, kiss some babies, and thank them for the opportunity, right? And as he gets closer, I see him like reach out to shake my hand, and I go shake his hand, and I'm just like, wait, what the fuck? And he's talking, and I'm barely hearing the words. It's almost like mumbled because it's so surreal to me. And he's just like, I just want to say like I'm a big fan. I'm like yada yada yada, and I'm like, holy fucking shit, it's Wags.
Fucking Wags.
Oh.
It was Wags from Billions.
So
yeah.
dope.
Here, they brought a lot of like celebs, I think, or a lot of celebs came to the PSPC.
Yeah, that's great. He knows who I am.
Yeah.
How?
Poker famous.
That means he knows who I am.
Probably.
Hi, Wags.
Probably. I don't get starstruck very often. It happened with Michael Phelps, which that whole story I've told many times, but like couldn't have gone worse. First time I met him, he absolutely hated my guts.
That's great.
I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'm a big fan.
Just
Sorry.
Hey guys, just to give a little indication of who we're talking about here when Faraz was talking about Sarah's husband, I love showing this clip.
Oh, this is my favorite thing on the internet.
Not him.
No. But actually my favorite part is the
Jesus.
audio.
He has a head tattoo?
Oh no, he has no tattoos. That's his hair.
Oh,
See,
he dyed it.
Heath
But what
and
you guys can't hear.
Heath and I both don't like to kiss.
Oh, God. Wait, but this is what you're missing right now. The guys are going, ha 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 ha. He not homosexual. He not gay. He not gay. That's the part. This is the commentary that you guys are missing really quick. That's the best part of the video, in my opinion.
I have to tell you, I would love for you to be a permanent stay on this show, just to ensure that I don't ever get canceled. Because like usually I'm the one flirting with this line, but here we are.
It's with great appreciation that I share my interpretation of these amazing commentators. Okay.
We used to lean on Melissa for that because she's half Japanese, so she would just go. Andre too. Andre's Malaysian. He's like just the most racist Malaysian of all time.
They approve. I'm sure they approve. I'm sure.
Oh, man,
it was solid.
hilarious.
I've been working on it for a
No,
while.
that was really good.
Thank you.
That was right up there with my Henry British accent.
Did you just compliment your own accent of somebody
Take
else?
a day off, man.
My God.
Take a day off.
You may take a day off. Oh my God.
Oh man.
I'm
So,
glad you were in here for him to find you, though, because I was trying to get you to come to the media room. And it actually, for me, was a big indication of how out of the world I am at this point, because I got the list of these are the potential celebs that you can talk to and try to, set up interviews with. And I literally didn't know a single one of them. Not one. I
Yeah.
Googled every single one of them.
And then did you know them?
Well, yeah, I spent some time. I dug deep.
No, I mean like.
But no.
You didn't like.
I've never seen that.
Because like I wouldn't have known his name if you had just mentioned it in passing. But if you say Wags from Billions, like I know exactly who you're talking about.
No, I had not seen Billions. I did kind of recognize. He has one of those faces, maybe like a character actor
How?
that you've
It's
seen
such
before.
a
Dare
good
you.
show.
Really?
You have to watch Billions.
Brian Koppelman wrote it.
The thing, well,
It's like Rounders for day traders.
Sure.
honestly,
So good.
That's such an insulting, not insulting, but like such a poker way to to say it. It's nothing like Rounders.
No, but it's great.
but like this iconic poker. But like,
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Koppelman's the best.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's into poker, right? He's
Yeah. Yeah.
He's done a lot of stuff. But yeah, no, I'm very out of the, I don't understand what's happening in popular culture.
Well, that's what happens when you get a family and
That's the problem.
move to the middle of nowhere, Texas.
Yep.
Do you guys even have Wi-Fi?
We have fiber. It was key. It was a key element. But yeah,
I envision you on like a 250-acre ranch where it
Just
takes a day to even get to civilization.
cows.
Yeah.
Just everyone else has an egg issue. We have no egg issues right now. We're having no problems. But I realized I was like, man, it's probably going to be like 5 to 10 years before I'm back into popular culture. And I interviewed Arden Cho, who is on a Netflix show. And when I was Googling, I mean, she's amazing. She's a model. She's a singer. She's brilliant. She's been doing a lot in poker. I had nothing.
I mean, I know her because of poker, so that one I think is a fair one.
Okay, good.
Netflix is tough to navigate.
Yeah.
I mean, like for me anyway, if it's not in the just released or the very first suggestion bar, I'm probably never seeing it.
And it's tough if you, which I don't, but if you do share your password with your family for the $13 or whatever it is a month, and then
would
your
ever do that?
recommendations are just shot. I'm like, I would never watch this. Why is this on there? Oh, I have a guess why. I know. But I definitely don't do that.
I would never do that either.
No, never.
I actually just buy extra Netflix accounts just to support the
That's right.
team. Yeah.
Exactly.
just in case. Oh
We're
no.
terrible.
Oh no. Please God, let me cash this tournament. I need it so bad.
It's a solid catch. It's like 35K.
I just need it for morale. I don't need the money.
Yeah.
I just need to know that I can navigate 15 big blinds. Like this could be the turning point. This could be my I have heart moment.
I love tournaments now.
Yeah.
Shift.
I could be the next Jason Kuhn.
Well, it's a tough even. Yeah.
What? I work out.
You could.
We're from like 100 miles apart. We're basically the same, okay?
I think you guys have similar vibes. Am I off?
No, we actually have like a pretty similar backstory. We
Yeah.
didn't grow that far. Like he grew up in West Virginia, probably like 100 miles away from me.
Yeah. I think you guys are both selfless.
We've
generous.
navigated some trailer parks in our days.
Yeah. He probably is into new tropics. Like I bet
Oh,
he's
for
taking
sure.
the same thing you are. He's just been on it for
He's
like a little
listening
bit
right now
longer.
going, Tung Ali, that's my shit.
Yeah, totally. He's getting out of the cold bath right now. Hi, Jason. nice to see you.
Yeah.
It's hard though right now, right? I saw Andrew Moreno, who's very skilled and competent. He's definitely crushing the tournament games right now. But last afternoon he said, "Man, yeah, it's just hard. to this part of the tournament. It gets harder and harder.
I think that's because he has heart. Like when you have heart, the disappointment is so grand.
When you care.
Right? But when you're completely fucking dead inside and all you see are these floppy disks in front, well, they're not floppy. All you see are these clay disks in front of you that are worthless until they're worth something. It's so hard to compartmentalize and just be like, okay, we've studied this. Things change a little bit now that you're not rich. Actually, that's the way I should reframe this.
Yeah, you should.
Is a tournament is actually my economic situation condensed down into 3 days. So it's like, hey, we just started the tournament. We're rich. And then a couple hours in, it's like, we're really rich. And then maybe dinner break, it's like, well, we've had some setbacks. You know, the government's cracking down on this. Interest rates have gone up. We need to really tighten the purse strings here a little bit.
Yeah.
The suited connectors, we can't really spend any money on those any longer, okay? We're going to have to pass. You kids don't get any small pocket pears for Christmas.
No eggs in the fridge anymore.
Yeah, you might have changed your life right here on the podcast
I think I just
today.
did. I think I just converted tournaments into my own personal economical crisis.
Yeah. And I think it's very relatable, actually.
Yeah.
Very relatable.
Yeah, right now as we approach this bubble, Bitcoin has hit an all-time low of 12K.
Are you serious?
No, but in my tournament
But
in my
that's where we
tournament
are.
scenario, that's
Yeah.
where we're at. You know, we're holding on. There's
There's just a hope. There's a little dream there somewhere.
there's a fork up ahead, 80 players away. All we have to do is hold on tight, and suddenly it'll double in price.
In that 1 second that you said Bitcoin's at 12K, how many people do you think went to go to
Google.
Bitcoin price?
Yeah. I was just like, wait, did I miss something? Crap. I gotta go. It's fine. We're fine.
We'll be okay.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be okay.
Well, it's okay, actually. Bitcoin's doing okay.
Yeah.
It's up a little bit.
The problem, though, also with busting these kind of tournaments, and I'm curious, you know, you're a professional, you've been doing this for a long time. What we tend to see frequently is that the tournament you bust, you're sad, and instead of like going to the beach, Conrad had a whole day planned, you know, things didn't go. He was like, I'm going to the beach, that's happening. But instead of that, then there's like the 3K, then there's like the 3K turbo after that, then there's the problem is that the 25K devolves very quickly into like a spew of a ton of other tournaments, and then next thing you know, you're dead inside. Actually dead inside.
You know, even worse, I'm even more mad. I didn't play the 3K yesterday.
The deep stack 3K.
I did not. Instead, I went home and I played online tournaments.
In the Bahamas?
Yeah.
That is so DJing in such a different way. Oh my gosh.
I wanted to,
Connor.
you know, hang out yesterday, just be in the house kind of. So I played some online birds. It was fun. I'm very upset that there's a 3K.
Like $30 satellites to the Venom.
Whatever. I won a Venom C and I won a 1KC, so get out of my face. But, you know, like.
Sick flex, bro.
There's like 200K up top in this 3K. And I was in the house playing satellites to the Venom. I can't breathe.
Yeah.
My God.
And you're just sharing the space with Landon. Like all of the laryngitis is just floating all around that house.
to me-
If he was home, I wouldn't have been there.
Also,
Landon, you're the problem. We could be in this 3K right now.
to be fair, I think it's like really low probability he's contagious, as this seems to be the fallout from his ear infection.
Oh, he had an ear infection too. Well, he's like a little baby. He really is a little baby.
This is like the third time in 2 days that we've called him an infant. Like he legitimately, he just eats, shits, and sleeps. It's like,
We're sorry. I'm sorry, Landon.
He cooks now, though.
yeah, that's true. He's like a dangerous toddler.
We are sorry.
Pancake batter splattered across the kitchen. Sometimes it catches fire. Other times it's buzzing.
This is bad. We're sorry. I feel bad.
He's a dangerous
But we are really
toddler.
grateful to him for getting our guest on for today.
That is true.
We have to be grateful.
That is true. We'll be joined shortly by Alex Botez.
Smoke show. You have to start it with Smoke Show, Alex Botez.
I am not allowed to start anything with Smoke Show. There are rules, and I have to abide by them. You are here to break them.
You never thought I was coming to this podcast to bring the R ratings.
Oh no, I couldn't appreciate you being here more. Trust me, I need buffer.
That makes two of us.
Yeah. Conrad doesn't serve me as a buffer. If anything, he just makes it worse.
I do.
He tries to get me canceled.
I just look at him, laugh, and just say whatever I want to try to get him canceled. It's great. I'm the great. This is why we're 1 and 2 here.
The fact that we've
One
made it
and 2.
210 shows with you having a hot mic is just like live. I mean, we've had this discussion many times of like, guys, do you really think we should do this live? And it's like, well, I don't know. I'm putting a lot of trust in people here.
I'm not sure, but it's worth it.
Melissa definitely made us re-question the whole live thing. Like, well, maybe we should be on like a 10-minute delay.
Maybe 20.
Give Guapo a chance to get in there and edit a few things out.
Not for nothing. 210 episodes. I think we've done pretty damn well.
Yeah. There's only like,
4 cancelable moments, maybe 5.
Yeah. Most of them came from you anyway.
Yeah, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
It's like you expect such things.
But you're also just like, you're kind of uncancelable.
And exactly. I think 5 out of like 210. So what is that? Like 2.5%? That's nothing, bro.
Yeah.
It's less than that.
You check all the boxes. Like you're from New York.
I'm black.
Yeah.
Anything else?
You're Norwegian.
Yeah, Norwegian. Like obviously, you can't
Just
cancel
claim
it.
English isn't your first language.
That works every time.
I speak Bohemian.
That's what Christian does all the time.
Every
He'll
time.
go, English is my second language.
You guys have so much on your plate, though. Brian he had to go back, right, to run a class.
Well, not to run it, to oversee it. He's a little manager. So he has to.
Little manager.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me. I only speak one language. That's my main problem.
Brian wears many hats.
His last name is Lamanna.
Yeah.
So he became the manager of Solve for Why. But yeah, so we have an academy that starts tomorrow. Today's Wednesday? Today's Wednesday. Yeah, so it starts tomorrow. So he's there with production, setting everything up, getting the table ready. A lot of things go on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And he is just the absolute best at crushing it, getting it all handled, making sure that Christian's going to be there tomorrow to actually lead the class. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we're in real trouble because Matt Hunt is also here in day 3. We were talking about it. I was like, okay, like we have to figure this out because you and me are here. And Christian's in New Jersey. So, like, one of us has to be there for the academy day 1. He's like, well, just play the 25K, man. I was like, I don't know. I think I should skip it and just go back. It's the responsible thing to do. He goes, what is it, like 1% we both make day 3?
And here we are.
And then yesterday, they're like, we're only playing 6 levels and not down to the money. And I just text Matt, and I'm like, more like 10%.
Dude, I don't know how it's a lot to balance. You guys have a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, but that's what we signed up for.
Yeah.
And it all kind of like overflows on top of one another. It's like the business overlaps with poker overlaps with the community at large, and the podcast, and whatever. You just figure it out.
We kind of love this shit too, in a way.
Speak for yourself.
You love it more than any of us.
Yeah.
Like you would do this alone, so get out of here with your nonsense.
If I wasn't doing all this, I would just be like going crazy in a cabin in a woods somewhere in Montana with my dogs, and there'd be like a 20% chance I became the next Ted Krasinski.
Yeah. At 20, yeah, arguable.
Yeah.
But and
Conrad's gonna ask who Ted Krasinski is.
No, you're
Do you
not.
want to tell me?
Get out. He knows.
No, I'm dead serious.
Are
Who's
you
Ted Krasinski?
25? How old are you?
Okay, 35.
35.
Too old to not know
the
who.
Unabomber? You don't know who that is?
Okay, when you say the Unabomber, yes, I know who that is. That's the guy that blew up the Oklahoma thing, right?
No, that's what.
Wait,
It's not.
No.
so who's the Unabomber? Phil Lack?
He sent bombs in the mail.
Oh. To where?
Really smart
Everywhere?
guy. It could happen to Berkey.
I don't remember
Lots of places.
who his targets were,
It took
but
a
yeah.
while to figure it out. He was sharp.
Imagine how good he'd be now with Amazon.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. He would be
Just
killing
efficient,
it.
you know?
Literal. But so the academy is like a labor of love for you guys, right? This is like you really have to get into the people who come and form relationships with them in some way.
I love it. I wish, I don't wish this because more so than anything else, I care about that's not true. I was going to say I care about scaling things.
Yeah.
That is partially true, but I care about scaling things without losing the original core, I guess, like mission behind it. And part of me wishes that like our entire business was just running academies, because it's, you're interacting with like 9 people. You get to see them face to face. They're not just like faceless consumers to you who are just like buying a product or whatever. But the 3 days, well, now it's 4. The start to finish, it's like watching clay get molded into something.
I have to say, I had a someone in my family reached out to me and said they had someone they wanted me to meet because it was a close friend of theirs, and their close friend's husband wanted to become a professional poker player, to which I was like, oh, okay, let me just help you out. And they were big fans of Matt. So I said, okay, I can introduce you to Matt. I've got that kind of power. Like, just wait for it. And he came and he did the academy. And of course, he had this most amazing experience. And he very soon after moved to Florida. And he's been playing professional poker for maybe 4 or 5 years.
Really?
You guys molded him from he's a smart guy. He's definitely a smart guy. He could have been
he
in
definitely
finance,
was super sharp.
Yeah, but he was like, this is what I want. Actually, it's quite interesting, though, because he's one of 3 people that I know that became and have been professional poker players for maybe the last 4 or 5 years, who at this juncture are now saying, maybe I want to like do some other things also.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Did you find that in your own life and career?
Yeah, you hit I mean, at some point you're just aware of like the cap of this space.
Yeah.
Like the draw is the freedom, right? Like, oh, I can make a living independently of everybody else and I'll never have to answer to anybody again. It's like you just pursue that with vigor because that seems so freeing. Then you get the independence and you realize like, fuck, I'm pretty limited on capital here. Like, I'm a pretty smart person. I think I could do a lot in this world, and I'm pretty restricted to making like X amount, and it's decreasing year over year. That's great though to hear, because we don't get the follow-up stories that much. So like quite often there's this fall off where some people will really just become a hardcore staple of the community. Like, there are people in our Discord channel that have been here from like Academy 1 that are just like crushing it. Like, shout out to Mark Rumbaugh. He does an Excel spreadsheet of literally every hand that has ever been televised through Solve for Why. So Poker Out Loud, the Academy, everything. He just like logs it all and shares it with the community for them to like have timestamps of
They're the
sorts.
people I love.
Yeah,
These are the people.
they're like the backbone to building communities, because
Yes.
like they're just doing this free labor that nobody else would ever want to do, and it's tedious, and it's not like it's detrimental to the product, but it's such a nice addition.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, it's easy for me to follow his trajectory and know what's going on, but then there are others that just like, hey, thanks, you gave me what I needed, and I'm gonna go out there and do my thing, and you're not gonna hear from me anymore. It's like, okay,
Because you did a good job. Like, either way, it's like a good product, 2 completely different outcomes, but like both.
Well, there's
are good
definitely plenty of people who come because a lot of the people who attend are people who play poker. I don't want to say casually, but like they're like serious recreationals. Like, they have a 9 to 5. They come, they go through the 3 or 4 days, and whenever they are leaving, they're just like, this was amazing, but what I realize now is this is not something I want to pursue. And I think that's like,
that's also good.
yeah, it's kind of helpful. Like, I wish, I'm a masochist. I was gonna say, I wish that there were things that would like fast track my failures in life, but I don't know that that's necessarily
You
true.
want the slow burning.
I don't like being told I can't do something, for sure. And I think like sports is a good reflection of that. When I was younger, like I remember my senior year of high school, my assistant coach was like, "Are you going to try to play college ball?" I was like, "Yeah, what kind of question is that, coach?" Of course. Or sorry, it was my junior year. And I had a really good season hitting. I was like, I led the Valley in RBIs, and I was like, you know, top 20 in batting average and all this other stuff. So it was like my breakout year, and he's like, "Are you gonna try to play college ball?" And I was like, "Yeah, like for sure." And he's like, "You're not gonna try to pitch, are you?" And I'm like, I mean, I don't want to, but like, I'll do literally anything to be on a college team. So like, whatever they need out of me, I don't care. And at that time, I was our number 1 arm out of the pen, but I wasn't starting. We had a pretty good rotation. And he goes, "You'll never make it as a pitcher in college." And I'm like, okay.
LFG.
Okay, fine. The following season, I ended up being our number 1 starter, and I never swung a bat a single pitch in college. Not that that's the funny thing is like, that seems like a flex of like, "I'll show you, man. I'm gonna go," but like, pitching was such a downgrade from what I actually wanted to do. It was like the last option.
And it's so much less fun, and it's so much more hard
Yeah.
work. And like batting's the best
You
part
get
of
to
the
play
game.
every day. You get to be the hero. You get to hit home runs. as a pitcher, like you get to play once every 5 days. You have to sit in the freezing cold in the bullpen all day long, and all you can be is the absolute scapegoat.
Yes, and also all you do is just destroy your shoulders and your
Yeah,
arms.
you
Like
get
there's
wrecked.
no way to come out of it with
And
like a normal body.
The training is literally just run.
Yeah.
Every day you show up to practice, they're like, all right, start off with a 5-mile jog and come back to me. I'll let you know what you're going to do next.
We don't know what to do with you right now. We've got other stuff going on.
Look,
We've got batting practice.
We're working with real athletes over here, okay? Just go scurry off and run somewhere.
Your skills. Okay.
Throwing a ball. Wow.
Full masochist though.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I really am.
It makes sense.
You'd think I'd steer more into tournaments if that were the case.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
You know what? This might be the flip inning.
You're just on your way. Like, you keep talking about it. Like, you keep talking about it in this, like, I don't know, down bad way, but you're on your way. Like, you have no
You know what
other
it is?
choice.
It's
You're
self-preservation.
Yeah.
I'm already committed to it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
true.
I'm saving face for when the success isn't there. When the success does come, I just shrug and go, huh, what do you know? What do you know? Not so bad at this thing after all, huh? Yeah, you'll have that.
How did you guys all come together? This is like a real motley crew of people.
Conrad can tell his story. I'll tell my side first. I wanted none of this. I selected for none of these people.
Yeah.
I asked for none of this.
Yeah.
They've all just found their way into my life. They're pretty much stalkers, basically, with the exception of Brian. Brian I've known since I was like 9.
Stop, really?
Yeah.
The manager?
Yeah.
You guys were like,
We hated each other in high school.
oh.
We were like best friends from like 5th to 7th grade. And then, we hit puberty and
Big falling
it became
out.
a very competitive space. And he was just the most immature person I had ever met. And at that point, I'm like raising a drug addict mom. And I'm like, I don't have time for your bullshit, man.
Yeah, I don't have room for you.
So like for the next like 4 or 5 years, we were just like he just drove me insane. We almost fist fought when we were juniors in high school. But then we found poker and we ended up like living together in college, moving out here together. Been
And
a real
then
long journey.
what about Miguel?
Miguel, I met through Andre. Well, there's a whole snaking there.
Yeah, it's a whole deal.
So Guapo, I met through Andre. Andre, I met through Jason Somerville when he was still doing Run It Up. So Andre was Jason's number 1. Actually, to be fair, I guess I sort of met him through Jason and through Dan. There was a small window of time where Dan was trying his hand at streaming on Twitch.
I remember that.
And he needed to get everything set up. So Andre actually came over and was like the tech guy and got like his whole Twitch thing.
That's the Dan I know, Unky Dan.
Yeah,
I
Uncle
love
Dan.
Dan.
It's so fitting. Like, who better to just, sit your kids down when they're 10 years old and learn the ways of the world than from Uncle Dan?
Unky Dan. My boy.
But yeah, so fast forward to, I guess, 3 years ago, right before COVID, or right, I guess like during COVID, Jason shut down Run It Up, and Andre was free, I guess. And just, I mean, I knew this from the days when he was with Run It Up. He was just like the number 1 asset anybody could have.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I need you for, but like, I need you, like, come on board. So I brought him in. And then whenever we were throwing this together, I was like, can you mix and like do all the inline edits? He's like, I can. And after a week, he was just like, I'm not doing this.
I got a friend that can do this.
He's like, I have to train somebody else to do this. Like, it's tedious, it's daily, it's exhausting. I don't have this kind of time. I was like, okay, yeah, like whatever. He's like, do you know Guapo? I was like, yeah, because I knew him from like doing some stuff with Run It Up too. I was like, yeah, Guapo's great. He's like, all right, I'm going to teach him how to do it. And he's just basically been learning on the fly.
Wow.
So I don't even know what episode he came in, but like Ep 1, it was literally just like kind of Andre over his shoulder, him, that button, this button, that kind of stuff.
That a boy Guapo.
And now here we are.
Just over there figuring it out.
Yeah, I'm still learning. I can't tell you how many episodes I thought I started and then embarrassingly have to like raise my hands. Hey guys, we actually didn't hit the start button yet. We're gonna have to try this again.
That's the least of the errors.
That's an easy fix.
Yeah, so easy to fix.
And the love story between you and Conrad must be.
My story.
He's a derivative of Chin.
So about 5 years ago, I YOLO'd my life and was like, I'm gonna go to Vegas. And like I realized I had no
From Norway?
From Norway,
Right.
yes. I realized I had no responsibilities after raising my little brother or whatnot. And I was like, okay, it's time for me to go. And then, I YOLO'd my life out here. I hit up Chin that same day, and he's like, I'm moving to Vegas today too. And then, a week goes by, and I'm about to go broke, and I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? I'm like, I think I don't want to go home. So I had came to, what was it, the Heads Up Challenge?
Yeah.
And eventually, Chin was like, I told Chin I didn't want to go back to that side of the world. And eventually Berkey kind of gave me a job and was like, just stay here, figure it out.
That is the very Disney version
It is.
of what actually happened. I if we backtrack everything, I moved out to Vegas with 5 guys. It was me, Brian LaManna, Brent Hanks, and then 2 guys that no one else would know outside of our group, but Greg Aversa and Brandon Garrity. They were college friends. So the 5 of us moved out here to pursue poker. Greg and Brandon very quickly shifted off to getting real work or whatever. Brian was next to follow, and then Brent became a part of PokerGo. And I was the lone one still pursuing poker. But at this point, I had done really well. I had moved out away from that group. We had met Dan and his group of friends out here. So now I had moved in with Dan, my friend Andy Zuzolo, and Dan's other friend Tyler Myers. So the 4 of us were living together, and we moved from one house to the next and had an open room. At that point, we brought in, or we accepted Jordan Young, who basically came for a summer for the World Series, asked if he could sleep in our bar, and then never left. And this is where it all began, because that process ended up getting repeated over and over and over and over again. So then Tyler moved out, and we had another room open, and one of Jordan's friends, Corey Paget, was moving to Vegas and taking a shot. He had also just completed the academy, and we were like, hey, let him move in. Corey still lives with me today. Love Corey to death.
I love you, Corey. I miss you.
By far, he's the one. He's the one that I'm the happiest with, that got thrust into my life. He's just the absolute best. From there, then I built my house, moved in, and we had open rooms. So Christian now moves in, which he eventually left, and then Landon just shows up to Vegas during quarantine to play the world, or just be in Vegas and meet the people that he's been chat moderating for and whatnot. Comes over to the office, we grind a few online sessions. His Airbnb runs up, and he's like, can I crash? And I was like, yeah, man, you can stay here at the office for as long as you need. Now, obviously,
that could be a long time.
Yeah,
that's always a dangerous proposition.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I was, it was an open-ended statement, but it was a reasonable amount of time.
But a room had just opened up at the house.
Months.
It was months?
Months later.
So
Landon stayed on the couch at the office for 3.5 months.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
These are your poker heroes, everyone.
I'm like, I guess you're mine now.
Fully.
Didn't you take Andre in as well into that studio for a little while?
Wow.
Almost everybody's lived in the studio. I lived in the studio when my house was getting built. What up? Andre lived in the studio. Landon lived in the studio. Melissa lived in the studio. Conrad lived in the studio. Christian probably lived in the studio at some point. Almost everybody lived in the studio at some point.
Oh, I did live in the studio when we all lived there, though.
Can you adjust their camera?
Yeah, sure.
How did Melissa get into the mix?
Well,
the lone vagina in the group.
So after I adopted Landon, accepted him, somehow Conrad's already found his way in. I don't even know how that happened, but
I was already fam.
he's in. So now we're living in my new house that I built. Probably been there for a year. And the funny part about this was during quarantine, that big beef between me and Guru had begun, and he was dating Melissa at the time. So it was a very off chance happening. Basically, I was streaming every day during quarantine, and this hand happened between Guru and I, where I had no idea who he was.
I actually don't know who he is right now. I feel bad.
Rob Kuhn, yeah. ACR Pro.
Okay.
But I didn't know who he was at the time. He was a reg, didn't mean anything to me, whatever. And he played a hand that I just thought was weird. And I said something, you're streaming, you just say things. And I said something like, that was terrible, or he must be a wreck, or something like that. And I maybe fish tagged him. I don't know. And he just took it to heart, and it turned into this big social media battle where he's shredding me on Twitter, and I'm posting the video for people or whatever. It turned into this long thing. In the meantime, Melissa is just like as loyal as a loyal person can be and just starts absolutely obliterating me. So fast forward a year, her and Rob had broken up and she was like looking for a place to live, and her and Landon had become good friends. So he's like, while she's trying to transition into a new place, can she crash at the office? I'm like, yeah, sure. So,
sure. She seems like just the right fit for the team.
Yeah. I mean, everybody just crashes at the office. It's fine. So,
and there was no bad blood loss for you. You were like, well.
The day I met her, she just walked up and she was just like, I'm really sorry about the Twitter thing. Like, it's fine.
It's fine. I did journal about it like every night, but it's fine.
You made me question my own mental capacities, but like, whatever. So like after a couple months of living there and her snake just kind of roaming free throughout the kitchen, I was like, you know what? Let's get you a real place. Christian had moved out. We're like, take the bedroom here. And now I'm living in the island of misfit toys.
She moved in with her snake?
Did you just call me a misfit?
Yeah, you're a misfit.
Just making sure.
Wow. Berkey, just PSA to everyone, if you're looking for a place to live in Vegas, I know a guy.
So if, God forbid, either one of you or Matt, ever end up finding yourself homeless or single and homeless, I have a place for you at the office. Sure. You can crash there. Eventually, someone will move out of my house. True. Room is yours.
I can't think of many things that would make my wife less happy, but I appreciate the offer.
I imagine. I'm tolerant of snakes, even if she has a proclivity for exotic pets.
It's not the snakes that are the issue.
No, I wouldn't imagine it is. I definitely wouldn't imagine it is. The only reason I built my house was for my dogs. Otherwise, I'd still be renting. But I found a piece of property that was a half acre. I was like, that is so much space for dogs. They could just run. And now everybody has the idea that like we should get chickens because eggs are so expensive. Yep. And I have to explain to them, number one, my dogs will eat them. But number two, chickens only lay 1 egg a day. So, or like on average, whatever. So it's like we would need, between Landon and I, we would need like 24 chickens. What the hell am I going to do with 24 chickens?
It also cannot possibly be that simple. Oh, eggs are expensive. Let's buy some chickens instead and just make our own eggs. Like that, I'm sure it doesn't work that way.
Right. Like suddenly I'm warding off coyotes.
We have a lot of coyotes.
It's kind of simple, though. It's not that complicated. You have to have a house for
Listen,
them.
she lives on a 250-acre ranch in Texas.
Hi, by the way. We haven't actually met yet. I'm Matt. Nice to meet you.
I was thinking that she was like, gosh, it's so awkward. Are you guys even going to introduce us? Good to meet you.
It was mid-story. What were we going to do?
Yeah, that's true.
Matt is also still in the main.
I am, yes. Day 3.
He has
more than 15 bigs?
Yeah.
I do. I have 31. So
God.
Twice as much.
Hunt is in the main.
In reality, do you think that if we were forced to pool our money together, right? So like you are as invested in my results as I am in yours.
Okay.
Do you think 100% of the time we would flip stacks? If like there were strategy behind it?
Wait, say that again in a different way.
Okay, so the end result is we're both invested in each other's outcome.
Yeah.
Like we have let's say we swap 50%.
Yeah.
Right? And we have the option to strategize.
Oh, like would it be better for me to have the 15 bigs and you to have the 31? Probably.
Are you like a short stack?
I'm scared at both of these answers,
I probably have more
honestly.
experience.
Oh, I don't even think this is close, Matt. I'm freaking out right now, man.
Okay.
But there's no difference between you and 15 and 31. Like it's kind of
No. Huge difference.
We know you just shipped deuces with like 33.
That was 2012. I didn't have heart back then, okay? Jason gave me a good stern talking to, and now I know it's threes are better.
I think the other factor is table draw, though. What's your table like?
I have no idea. This is why I need the 30 blinds. I didn't even look at my table yet.
Well, see, I have the chip leader of the whole thing at my table. So
that's true.
That's not a great spot.
On your left.
Congrats.
No, he's across the table.
Congratulations on bagging Chip Lee today.
That would be great. I'll take the congratulations even if it doesn't happen. Thank you, Conrad.
Hunt texted me and asked me reads on him, and I gave him the short version of like all I know is that he plays high stakes PLO. But the reality is, he had the nuts every time his hand was table. So I don't know how he plays.
Yeah.
Like what do you say?
He plays high stakes PLO. He likes to gamble.
What do you say about the guy who has ace king 12 times and wins every single time he gets it all in?
He's also a Bulgarian, and there's no read on that country. Like there's no stereotype of Bulgarian.
Oh, hold on. Actually, there might be.
Are you gonna tell me
I actually saw something on Twitter today or yesterday.
The ACR tweet?
Yeah, Tim Kramer put out. Let's see.
I don't know if Bulgaria was on that list.
I got to find out now that we're here. Okay. So Austria, nope, but I can't help you.
I have been to a
Bulgaria
couple
was not on the
tournaments
list.
in Bulgaria. I'm almost sure. Yep, I did, and I think they really like to gamble.
I mean, we
Okay.
we could probably just like go to Kazakhstan and assume that Bulgaria
You
is
have any
not
idea
a
how
huge.
far Bulgaria is from Kazakhstan?
Well,
How's your European geography?
I mean,
right.
I assume they're both in Eastern Europe to some
They're-
degree.
They're like 1,000 miles away from
All right,
each
what's closer
Yeah.
to each other? Is it Belarus or
Belarus.
Belarus or
I was like, what
Kazakhstan?
country is he saying?
Hold up.
Belarus.
Belarus
Just
or
stop,
Kazakhstan?
buddy.
Which one's closer?
Closer to Bulgaria?
Yes.
They're both fucking miles away, but
How about Germany?
probably Kazakhstan because Belarus is North Europe.
Wait,
Belarus is North.
why are we making such a big deal about these miles? New York is like 1,000 miles away from Pennsylvania. It's not that different.
It's probably more than 1,000
Well,
like
time to
Texas.
fuck out. Yes, it is.
I just threw 1,000 miles out there because as a British person, that's a distance that seems like a long way.
Oh, yeah, in America, that's not
It
that
might
far.
like
be
across my
actual
state.
It might be actual like 3,000 miles.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's like Dallas to Austin
Yeah.
here.
But the bottom line is Belarus and Kazakhstan are miles away from each other. Bulgaria is also miles away from both of them. Kazakhstan is like way far east. Belarus is north, and then Bulgaria is like south central kind of area.
I'm gonna Google Belarus.
Belarus, yes.
Belarus. Okay, we're just gonna call it Belarus from now on.
Oh, you don't know how Conrad works with words?
Where is Belarus?
This is exactly what he does. He wanted to. So Lamanna's nickname is the Tortoise,
Yes.
and he somehow along his path discovered the word Tortuga, and instead of
Spanish word for tortoise.
yeah, so instead of pronouncing it Tortuga, because he doesn't actually know the word, he started saying Tortua,
Tortua.
and this has been going on now for a month.
All right. Just a silent G for no reason. Okay.
Right,
All right,
and,
guys.
and he's made it a bit nonetheless.
Okay.
So it is to the left of Russia and is up from Ukraine.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and
We'll call
it's-
that North and West, but
No. Relax. And it's to the right of Poland.
Can we figure out what Matt Berkey's seat draw is?
oh, that'd be great.
Oh, where are you sitting, Berg?
The good news is we have an app for that.
Yep.
We do. We have a very, very
I
handy
will say
app for
the
that.
This app is
PokerStars Live
amazing.
app is incredible.
It's fantastic.
I don't know what the system is behind it and like how expensive it is to implement everywhere, but if WPT and WSOP don't follow suit, they're absolutely missing.
Yeah, I gotta say, this
this
is the
on Bro-
first like major PokerStars event that I've played. I've played minor ones like 10 years ago, but this is the first major one I've played. I'm so impressed by the general organization, like how smooth it is, how good the player experience is. Really, really positive. I've got nothing but good things to say about the way this event's run.
I wonder if this is something that like Bravo could just handle like wide sweepingly.
I mean, if they did, it would be a genius idea. Like everyone would love them for it. So.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. So like, I wonder, is it like WPT and WSOP, or is it Poker Atlas or Bravo that does this?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like Bravo could maybe handle this like on a sweeping scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right? Because for them to develop, well, they could develop an in-house app. Let's be clear. Like WPT, WSOP
No, of
are
course they could. But
very big companies.
yeah, but of course, if Poker Atlas
But it'd
or
be
Bravo,
easier for them to incentivize like Atlas or Bravo to do it.
Yeah, just like, give them a little bit of money to do it.
A little
I-
bit of
Throw them a little bit of dollars, and then you know what?
I would put money on WPT doing it before WSOP does, because WPT seem like they care more about the player experience.
They're also not locked into Bravo, which I think WSOP
right.
is.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So it would give Atlas a chance to kind of get out there and do their thing.
All right. Well,
Looks like you're
haven't-
at table 4, maybe?
Yep, you are at table 4.
Ooh, table 4.
And I know absolutely nobody at your table except for Benjamin Diebold
Usually, I know Ben.
and Griffin Banger.
I know Griffin also. Usually not knowing anybody is a good thing. I feel like in a European heavy event, though,
That's not a good
probably not such the great thing.
If they're European, they're probably good.
Yeah, everybody has different color flags.
Yeah,
You know Roberto Romanello, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't.
I don't.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's good.
He sounds Italian, but he's actually from
He's
Wales.
won at EPT, and
He has heart.
I think he's won a WPT,
Yeah.
and
He's been around a long time.
yeah, he's won a lot of things. He also has twins,
Hmm.
its own thing, but yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. Dude, Griffin, this is the craziest thing. When you're in this game for a certain amount of time, there are a lot of people that I have known for ages that when you go like 3 years without seeing them, we've all gotten so old. Like, I don't even know you anymore. Like, people are like, Sarah. I'm like, is that you in there? Like, but Griffin's not one of them. Like, I'm not saying that.
You just brought that up as a complete non sequitur. Like he's definitely not in that category.
Like,
Let's
I'm
just
not saying that
reassure
at
him.
all, but I just want to say, like, yeah, we're getting old. Ramon. Yeah, But like it looks like chip wise, it's not the worst table for
I
you.
had 15 big blinds. How could it ever be bad?
There's one person with less chips than you.
Okay.
Go.
I mean, honestly, it'd be better if everybody just had piles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why Matt Hunt's gonna bag the chip lead today.
I hope so.
Let's get it.
I
want to
too
see your table. What table are you at?
Hope so.
Table 10, I think. I have a few short stacks and then the chip leader, so he's just going to open every hand, or at least good.
R.I.P. to the chip leader.
We're not. So like the thing is, we're not that close to the
yeah,
bubble.
I mean, I'm exaggerating. We're 80 spots away, so like there's going to be a while before it starts to become a real
It was getting
factor.
frustrating. People like we're not that close to the bubble, and as the clock was ticking down yesterday, which I imagine they did this to try to prevent stalling, but I think it had the exact opposite effect. As the clock was like getting under 15 minutes, there was like 2 or 3 Euros at my table that just like started stalling every single hand to get to the hand for the end of the day.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it until 7 minutes on
Right.
the clock instead of like a usual 10.
I think they should just do it at like 20 or something. Just do it at more. Just draw a number between like 10 and 12 or something. I don't know,
Yeah,
just,
draw
like,
draw higher numbers.
So is there anything outside of money that is preventing shot clocks throughout the whole tournament?
Probably to some degree logistics. I think
They
if
were
any
doing it on the EPT for a while. Almost all of the tournaments, I
did
want to
it-
say, were
did it
having
at
30-second
WPT
shot
as well.
clocks. They had the little iPads, and I thought, oh, this is going to just last forever. I thought it was one of those things like the big blind
I
ante,
think
where it was like, this is
logistics-
the new thing. And
I think logistics with large fields is a bit problematic. I could be wrong, but I know that the WSOP ran into this issue this past summer where they got way more people than expected for a 25K, and they had to get rid of the shot clocks. I think they got like 450 people or something like that,
wow.
and they didn't have 50 shot clocks
I would love to see like this.
or 50
going-
iPads, I
I
guess.
would love to see this going like every tournament shot clock.
Yeah, I think
Like,
that
it
there
needs to happen.
I
It's a
think there are
great
a
question
couple
for Chris tomorrow, too.
Yeah, I think there are a couple like small technical things that they need to get over, like figuring out a way to keep the charge on the
iPads?
iPad the
Yeah,
entire time.
okay.
Like they run into this issue on Live at the Bike and Hustler all the time, where after X amount of hours the iPad dies, so now they have to have a backup, and that's only one table.
Yeah.
If you extrapolate that out now to 150 tables, like that's just very tedious and expensive.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
What do you think about some kind of like chess clock sort of thing where each player has a clock that goes for them the whole tournament? Like have an app that runs it or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's the ideal, right? Is that when you register for the tournament, you just have X amount of minutes of time.
Like online.
Yeah, I think the challenge for that is obviously the logistical implementation of it. There's nothing that can automate. Although I think Manet's new RFID tech, I think he's working something in like that where the dealer just has a foot pedal and starts the clock,
Yeah.
starts and stops the clock.
Right.
Ooh, that's
There's still
nice.
human error there though, and
Yeah.
I don't know how they would fix it.
Well, I was thinking like almost. I mean, it would take a long time to get to this point, but you could almost have it like built into the table where the player, when it's the end of your turn, you literally like press a button when you're done acting.
Yeah.
And the clock automatically moves to the next player.
Yeah.
Like in a way where the table itself and the action clock and everything are completely integrated. And obviously that's super expensive, but like hopefully
Yeah,
we'll eventually get
I will say one thing that is easy for us to forget is that there is a defaulted amount of time to every decision no matter what. So it's not like as if you get a free decision for 0 seconds. So think about all the times that you're folding that you're still like spending 3 to 5 seconds on. That might result in needing like maybe 20 minutes worth of
Added up time.
added up time.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And if people are like pretty sharp, they'll find ways to just like utilize like 5 at a time when it benefits them the
that's
most.
probably true. Like you might get to situations where people just don't stall at all in most instances, but then in some instances they stall for their entire 15 minutes
Yeah.
or something
Yeah,
like
just
that.
like
Yeah,
use
yeah.
out the time.
That's probably
year one of the Super High Roller Bowl, they didn't do a fixed number of hands at the end of the night. They just let the clock expire, and a few people that were pretty sharp still had all their time banks. So with like 8 minutes left on the clock, they just threw them all, and we played one more hand.
Wild.
Because the edge of not paying the big blind in the end, I don't understand. Why is this such a big thing? What are you really saving yourself?
I think part of that, I think part of the reason why that happened in that particular situation was just a fuck you, I can gamify this, so I'm going to kind of thing. Like, oh, look, you overlooked something, so fuck you, we're only going to play one more hand kind of thing. But the other thing was we had like not the best table draw, or like that person didn't have a very good seat draw, and they were like under the gun 1. So there's like 0 incentive to pay blinds, play at a tougher table whenever they could just bag.
Okay.
And honestly, it can literally be as simple as like paying one extra blind. Like there's just EV attached to that. It might be a couple dollars, but it adds up.
I would love to see, like, I don't know, tournament directors or like the next, what is the meeting that they do every year?
The TD Summit's every other year.
So I would love to see them like talk about shot clocks in depth and try to figure something out that works well for all venues. Because I haven't had much experience with the tanking and whatnot, but I had my first experience with it, and I never want to have another experience with it because I might just lose my mind.
Honestly,
Is this recent? This feels really sensitive.
This was like
It is.
72 hours ago. It's just one of those moments. It's like you have 8 people at the table. Everybody is just taking a very long time for each decision. And we played like, I don't know, maybe 13 hands in an hour. And it was just like,
Do you
come
guys
on.
find, especially, okay, in a tournament like this, right, at 25K, that it's the more unseasoned players, or it's almost always exclusively
No.
It's exclusively
exclusively
people
pros.
looking for these micro edges?
Yeah, people are doing it for money. Listen, like there's been a fair amount of modeling work done, and dependent upon the structure, obviously the worse the structure, the more this holds true. Tanking will outperform every single human's edge at a certain like juncture of the structure being like fast, right? So the ability to allow everyone around you to play a bunch of hands and suffer all that variance while you just sit still on your chip stack is worth more than whatever skill edge you could derive.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
so
actually
gross.
crazy how much, like, if you just max late regged and then tanked as much as you could at every possible opportunity, you'd make a lot. You'd make more money than some winning players.
Yeah.
Somebody turn off Hunt's mic.
Just get another job then. Like, go
I
get
can
a
understand how
job.
that's even fun.
Well, that's the problem. Like that's I struggle a ton with this, with like the conflicting interest of I'm here to make money, but not so much so at the expense of my own sanity.
Yes.
And
100%.
it's very difficult because like yesterday I was at a good table and I was short, and just me being short alone should be leaning into the tanking. We're only 80 away from the money. Like we're probably going to cash within the next 2 hours or 2 levels, whatever. So like I should be leaning heavy into playing very few hands and looking for a good spot to be all in. But I was at the exact opposite end of the spectrum. I was like, look, like I'm at a very good table right now. If I can run this up at this table and give myself some cushion going into tomorrow where maybe I draw pretty poorly, I'll feel a hell of a lot better than just knowing that I bagged and have the opportunity to cash because I abided by the incentive of my stack.
Do you think it's subtly tilting enough to make people also play differently against these people that are so
Conrad-
obnoxious?
I would.
Conrad has a list of people he wants to kill.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm gonna kill them one day, but like
Jesus, man.
This is Dateline like 20,
This is like
35.
my Billy Madison list. I'm just gonna be crossing names out, one by one. But it doesn't tilt me like it tilts me in the moment that I'm gonna yell at everybody and like say, hey guys, come on, let's be real, let's act. But it's not gonna change the play.
I will say though that there's also a very specific subcategory of recreational players that you can tell is doing it because they've seen other people do it.
Yeah.
And that frustrates me as well because it frustrates me that pros are setting that example, that they're saying that they're conveying the message to Rex that this is how you need to behave.
Yeah, the best example
it's
is
so
the
bad
one
for
chip
me.
behind. Like,
Oh, I've seen people do that in the dumbest spots. I've seen people do that in spots where it literally doesn't matter.
it makes no sense.
I saw a guy yesterday, like day 2, like he's jamming over he was check raising all in over a flop bet. It's heads up, and instead of just check jamming, he like moves most of his chips in there and leaves a certain amount behind. I was like, there's literally no advantage to that because we know you're not folding.
Mm-hmm.
So there's actually literally no strategic difference between putting like most of your chips in and leaving a few chips behind and forcing your opponent to ask how much do you have behind and then figure out like, oh, he's just doing this weird thing. There's no difference at all. And this guy did it. And I was like, at that point, you don't understand why you're doing that. You're literally just doing it because you've seen other people do it. Because if you thought through it, there's just no reason. There's absolutely no reason.
The thing is though, like it is a little bit complex to the uneducated, I guess, as to like why this happens or when the spot.
Oh yeah,
should
but
occur.
this guy was a Portuguese pro. Like I looked him up.
That's even
He's a
funnier.
Portuguese pro. Like, this is why I'm mad. Like, if it was a rec, then I'd be a bit like accommodating of it. But like this guy was a pro, and I was like, you're doing it in a spot where there's literally no advantage to doing it.
I wonder if the reason why he does it is just so like he always does it. So like it's not like something
that doesn't make any sense. But it's probably like what Hunt's saying, where it's like just a lot of mimetic behavior, where it's like you just see it happening all the time, and like it registers in your head, like, oh, I'm supposed to do this thing.
Right.
Like betting 10% is another good example. It's very niche when you're actually supposed to do it. And I just see it like now taking place of like B25 in a lot of spots.
Right, yeah, people are just sizing down and down and down as much as they possibly can.
Yeah.
We're going to get to min betting eventually in free bet pots and stuff.
Kerry Katz loves it. He invented
Min
it. The one chip bet on the river. He loves it. What's in there? 100,000? 1,000.
Yeah.
That's great.
Now what?
The 1% pot bet. Love it.
Maybe I'm folding, maybe I'm not. You figure it out. Play this little dance.
I like that. Spicy.
But yeah, there are rec players that I played with, in particular one guy on day one who was like doing it a lot, even just before folding pre, like to the point where it's like you definitely don't have a decision every time that you're doing this. And it was a rec player because I looked him up and he didn't have a lot on Hendon Mob and things like that, and he was like playing like a rec player. And then this same player went on to subsequently, like he was, I don't know if any of you guys saw my tweet. I got it in, like I 3-bet the flop with a pair and nut flush draw on a certain flop. And he like calls it off and goes, well, nice playing with you guys, and calls and has a set. Yeah, it was Queen 6-5 2 hearts. He had a set of sixes.
Yeah.
And he was like, nice playing with you guys, reluctantly puts his stack in. And I'm like, come on, dude, like seriously. And this was the guy that was taking ages over every hand. So this was like a really frustrating rec player to play with. So
Did you get there though?
No.
Damn it.
I mean, I would be less frustrated if I did get there, but like,
Right,
obviously.
of course.
he
But
would
you're
be punished
looking
for
up
that.
everybody you're playing with, like your board you're looking.
Pretty much, yeah.
Do you
Like-
guys do this also?
No.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
I
the
used
mobile
to.
phone internet game.
Wait, let's
I
Hunt.
just look at their face.
Hunt is the consummate professional. He's excellent at what he does, and he is leaned heavily into accepting that tournament life is the life he wants to live. And there was a juncture in my career where I was on the fence. It was like, early 2010-ish, like 2013 when I had a really successful WSOP. I was just like, hey, you know what? Maybe this is kind of for me. I was looking everybody up. I was doing same thing with like 2009 to 10. I was grinding really hard online playing MTTs. I was like, maybe there's something to this. And then I got to play Nosebleed Cash. And at that very moment, I just knew it was over.
Well, maybe when I eventually get to play Nosebleed Cash, that'll happen to me too.
that you know what?
Who
It
knows?
very well might.
Who knows? We shall see.
Wait,
It
I'll
won't.
tell you exactly. How you can determine if it will or won't before you even sit down. If you sit into a game where you recognize that you are winning a lot, but it's more money than you're comfortable playing with, and your immediate instinct when you're under the gun is to straddle, then high stakes cash is for you.
Okay, I couldn't tell you whether that's
This is
the
the
case or
litmus.
not.
Nailed it.
Right.
Yeah, we'll have
Right.
to give that a try sometime.
Well, let me reframe what I'm
Please
saying.
rephrase that because I don't like this.
Let me reframe what I'm trying to say. If you're playing with more money than you're comfortable to play with, and your immediate instinct is to make a negative EV play, high stakes
okay.
cash is for you.
Well, I'm a married man, so I think making negative EV plays at high stakes is something I'm going to stay away from for quite a while.
Right. So we're gonna keep you in these birds and have you chasing 4 million the hard way.
Exactly.
Do you find it super helpful? I mean, there's so much information now, right, available about basically everyone.
I would say it helps my confidence more than anything else. Like it helps me to feel like I have a good handle on what type of environment I'm in and how out of line I can maybe afford to get, like what sort of expectation I have about how the environment is approximately going to play. So it's more a question of like seeing, am I at a table with 6 recs and 2 pros as opposed to the other way around, more so than trying to like figure out how individual people play, because most pros play roughly the same and most recs play roughly the same. So it's just a question of figuring out who's who, really.
That's why I usually don't send look, because you look at somebody, it's pretty
Yeah, it's usually relatively obvious, but
It's
like
so racist, Berkey.
racist.
So I used to look up everything. I used to look up everybody at my table or whatever. And then, like, I don't know, in the last 6 months or so, I just got into like, I kind of want to figure out who everybody is. Like when I sit down, like I'll eventually look them up or something. But like when I sit down, I kind of just want to see like, okay, who is this guy?
Yeah,
like
I think it started because I had a time period where I kept running into people where I would think like, oh, this guy's a wreck, and then I would look them up, and this guy had like 3 million on him, or vice versa. Like I'd think someone was a pro because they seem like they play well, and this guy is like 35 and has like 20K on Hendon Mob. So because I got to a point where I stopped trusting my instincts about first impressions of people. It might have been when I moved to the States and the like getting to know people was a bit different, but I stopped trusting that first impression, and I just started looking people up when I get the chance.
Yeah, I think that's really fair because like playing in a Euro heavy field like this, it's very difficult to discern. There were a lot of people that I gave credit for playing the PCA main on day one, where I was just like, okay, this is like a Euro grinder or whatever, and then the second that you like start talking to them, you realize that they want a platinum pass. And like, this is the biggest event they've ever played.
Right, like there are people here who are platinum pass winners who are like micro grinders or something, and they might be European and they might be 27 years old, but that doesn't mean that they play high stakes,
They might have the outfit on too.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
There's a lot of those outfits going
right,
around.
yeah, platinum pass hoodie is a bit
Also,
of a tell.
you have a really like a name, that's like maybe people look you up and they look up the wrong guy on accident.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I have a very, very generic name, so it's kind of handy.
You're like Dmitry Ivgashenkoviv. Like we're gonna find you. We're gonna find your records.
Are we though?
We're gonna misspell your name 10 times, and then we're gonna find you eventually.
We're gonna go to what are we calling it?
Belarus.
Yeah,
what did Conrad call it?
No, it's Belarus. When you guys want to know the English language, just text me. I'll let you know.
Just say that's the Norwegian pronunciation.
I'll send you voice memos.
It's a very special pronunciation.
Oh, you didn't even say it today, Matt. I was like dying when we were starting. I was like, let's get it popping.
I just side-eyed. It's like,
special.
they can't all be special.
They are all special. You want to know why? Because they're special when I'm here.
Okay, that's
all right.
All right, fine.
So every time I'm here, it's a special episode.
I feel that.
We were talking about this yesterday. I was saying like how awful I felt and how unprofessional it was to not know John's name for the runner. And we kind of talked about it, and then I felt less guilty because I was like, wait a second. We literally all looked for it for hours. He was nowhere to be found on the internet. Like even outside of searching like slow poker and just arriving at his YouTube channel, there's nothing about this man on the internet.
Yeah.
He's only referred to as the runner elsewhere.
Yep.
It's just like
I spoke to him about it afterwards for a little while, and I think it's a choice he made, a conscious choice he made. And I'm like, how you've managed to do that in the days of the internet, there are footprints from all of us everywhere. You could never hide your identity, I don't think, but get out there, guys.
It is very difficult.
We missed him as the runner, but like, let's find out, who is he? Really?
It's very difficult to scrub yourself from the internet these days in that way.
I don't think there is any scrubbing yourself.
No, I mean, or at least like make yourself hard to find. Like, it's very difficult to do that.
And the shit that lives, I don't know if you've ever Googled yourself, but the stuff that manages to live in like the Google images and stuff, I'm like, this picture, what the, where did they get this from?
My Hendon Mob picture is from like 2011. Where it's not even a professional picture. It's a picture my friend took that somehow managed to make it onto Google Images, and somebody at Hendon Mob thought it would be hilarious to put it as my profile picture. But I'm telling, like, he's about to snap a picture of me in the World Series, and I'm like telling him no or something like that, and I'm going,
yes.
I thought you were going to say
up.
it was the one of you plastered in full tilt patches from the main event.
No, that would be way better, to be honest. But yeah, they were so they paid a handsome amount. I got like $50K for playing 2 feature tables.
That is just insane.
But they were like, you have to have 2 visible patches on your front. And I was wearing a backwards hat, and I was like, where the fuck am I going to put these? Sorry. If you wore a hat, you had to have a visible patch on your hat. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so I have this giant full tilt patch. I don't know if you guys remember, but they were like a half triangle,
I remember the
check mark type.
Yeah.
So I have that on my chest, and then they give me another one. They're like, you have to put it on your hat somewhere, and I'm like, okay. And I have this Steelers hat on backwards like this. I just stick it in the middle of my forehead. The corners are like out.
That's just reminding me. I don't think I've ever seen you wear a hat forwards. I don't think I've seen
Only
you wear
when I played baseball because I was forced to. Even during practice, I would wear my hat backwards.
What is with that?
I grew up like Ken Griffey Jr. was just kind of like the guy, and he was
just about know who that is.
Okay, fair.
Baseball guy. I assume.
Yeah. He was like, at the time he just like had all the swag. He was kind of like the Jordan of baseball. Even though Bonds was my favorite player, like Griffey was like the icon.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he like popularized the swingman, which was him where it's a shadow. Like the Jordan Nike thing is like a shadow of him dunking.
Yeah.
The Griffey one is like one of him finishing a swing with his hat backwards, and it's just like iconic.
Okay, so it's a baseball thing.
But also, I have a very small head, so hats forward look weird on me. Like it kind of like it's like a dad hat look almost, where it like flattens backwards. Like if you ever see Brian in a hat forward, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't think I've ever seen Brian in a hat at all.
Of course, because he has a tiny head and it looks ridiculous. Everybody catches strays. You leave early, you catch strays. You get laryngitis, you catch strays.
There's no safe zone around here.
That's right. The only safe zone is being in the seat where maybe someone will stick up for you if you get picked
or
off.
you can stick up for yourself.
Yeah, that's fair. You can at least respond.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I thought you were supposed to have a much more important guest than me on today.
It looks as though that's not happening.
Matthew Hunt, nobody is more important than you.
Thank you, Conrad.
No
That's
problem,
very
buddy.
nice of you.
I'm here for you.
I agree.
But really, Alex Cortez is much more important than
I
me.
blame Landon.
We obviously blame Landon. He's not here.
Landon arranged this. I double checked last night before I went to bed. We've got a time. She knows she's coming. It was double checked.
It's definitely Landon's fault.
It's always Landon's fault.
Landon, I blame you.
It can't
But
be
if we
anyone else's
do
fault.
meet Alex and it was her fault,
No,
That's that girl's
it's still Landon's fault.
okay.
It's definitely
Well, we
still
just said
Landon's fault.
whoever's not here gets blamed. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's Alex's but mostly Landon's fault.
but definitely Landon's.
It's
For sure
100%.
Landon's.
We're sorry about that, guys.
Rule number 1: never the guest's fault.
Yes.
Rule number 2:
Always blame
always
Landon.
Landon's fault.
This
He
means
gets
all
so
check
mad.
marks.
He hates this so much. Like, it's funny. It's funny because like it's just the way of the world, and he's not wrong. But it's still always going to continue to be the way of the world. So like we go on these trips or whatever, and we try to be pretty fair about how rooms get split up. But sometimes somebody has to get the shit end of the stick, and it tends to be Landon. And he's like, "I'm sick of this. Like, this is so stupid. You're just doing it because of age." And it's like,
yes.
yeah, like that.
Also, you have an ear infection. We'll come check on you in the night and make sure you're okay.
Like, yeah, you're 23. I'm 40. I'm not sleeping on the top bunk.
No.
This is
There
you.
are rules. It's even like that with the
Berkey-
siblings and stuff. Like the older sibling
Yeah.
always gets the better room. Like, this is
Seniority,
just the way
you
it
know?
works.
Hold on, I have a question.
Yeah,
Berkey, where'd you sleep last night?
on a top bunk.
Okay.
That's different. That was a choice.
What? That house is gorgeous, Berkey.
It is.
How
It's
did
super
you
nice.
end up in the bunk
Well,
bed?
I had the master room. But a friend came from out of town, and I didn't want to force her to sleep on the top bunk, so I just gave her the master, and I did the gentlemanly thing.
Wow.
Right.
I'm never doing
Chivalry
that.
is not dead.
I was gonna say, being a woman really works in a lot of
You have
spots.
no idea.
It's so great.
But like the alternative is that she's sharing bunk beds with Conrad and a bathroom with 5 guys.
yeah,
That's not gonna fly.
yeah.
I slept on the couch.
We would never even get here.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine like 5 guys vying for a bathroom that a woman's using.
But you also have 15 big blinds at the PSPC, and you've got to get your
I'm
beauty
inspired.
rest.
You
You got
know
to get
what?
your 6 hours.
No,
That's right.
No, I don't need it. I have Tungal Ali
yeah,
or whatever
you need
the
your
hell this
6
stuff is.
hours.
You have what?
Is that Muhammad's cousin?
No, he's a football player. He was a defensive end.
Don't know what that is.
Tom Ali.
What, a defensive
would
end?
be the? Let's see. What would the soccer equivalent of
back.
a defensive
Left
end
back.
be?
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
fair enough. I get that. Conrad knows. Conrad knows soccer.
I feel like Europeans and Americans should speak about each of our versions of football in rugby terms, because I feel like that's probably the closest middle ground.
Well, yeah, except when you come to a European country that doesn't play rugby, like Germany or Spain, or
Yeah.
there's really only a few European countries that actually play rugby a lot.
Wow, I didn't even realize that these places don't play rugby. I thought it was
Not at
so
all.
huge over there.
It-
Everywhere.
The countries that play rugby is England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, France, Italy, Argentina, and then a lot of the southern hemisphere countries
Like New Zealand.
Australia, New Zealand,
Yeah.
and South Africa.
Because they do those dances and shit.
Is it
Right.
originated in Australia?
What's that?
Is it originated in Australia?
No, England.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, Australian adjacent.
Well, yeah. Like all the sports that England creates, Australia then generally becomes better at.
Well, they
than
are a
England.
derivative of you guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. But yeah, rugby is not going to be like if you speak to like a German guy, he's not going to know anything about rugby.
What sports do they play in Germany? Baseball and
Football.
football. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't play
baseball.
Speaking, no, they play baseball.
They absolutely do not play baseball in Germany,
way.
not to like a significant degree.
I mean, my friend coached in a professional league over there.
Okay, but like it's going to be like
Interesting.
incredibly low key.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It's
Like
going to be
you would
super
still
low
be
key.
the number one starting pitcher.
I'm not saying it's a national sport.
It probably has the same status. It probably has the same status as rugby over here.
Okay.
So, like,
Okay,
it's
that's
like
fair.
some participation, but like not a major sport.
Yeah.
I know some people too who played professional basketball in Europe, but they were like
Basketball
not
is-
good enough to play professional basketball in the
Basketball's
U.S.
pretty
But they were
Basketball
like
is pretty big in Europe.
professional on like
Basketball-
Italian teams and stuff.
Basketball is big in Spain, Italy, Turkey, Greece, a few other like Southern Europe kind of countries. Yeah.
But it's like being a professional in Europe is like being like a AA in America.
Triple A.
Well,
Triple
it
A,
depends.
okay.
I think it depends on the sport. But yeah.
But basketball for
Basketball,
sure.
I would say
Because this guy
AAA.
was like, I mean, he was not going to make the pros. In the
Yeah.
United States, like not even close.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you can make good money playing overseas. Like, there's a lot of opportunities to play like baseball, softball, a lot of sports that are very difficult to break into here, where you can make like pretty good money. Specifically in Asia, like in Japan, baseball is massive, and a lot of American players will go over there. Netherlands also, but even all across Europe, like if you had the option basically to play like independent baseball here, which technically you get paid, but it's like $30 a day, versus playing like a high league over in Italy. You'll probably make like 4 or 5x in Italy, but you know you have the skill set of like a Division II college player.
Yes.
Yeah, my cousin played overseas. I think he got paid like $50,000 to $60,000
$50K
a year.
yeah.
like
I
it
was like-
wasn't much. He played in Denmark for like a
Yeah,
couple
but like
years.
he's making 50 or 60K playing a sport living in Denmark. Like there's
no, of course,
there's
of
a lot
course.
of high side
no,
to
of
that.
course, it was great for him, and that's why he went. But like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the inverse version of European soccer players coming to the States.
Right? Yeah.
Like,
That makes
it's
sense.
the
That's
same
why-
sort of thing.
I
Yeah.
imagine that's going to change though.
How so?
Just because there's so much money here, like I don't know what the popularity growth of soccer will be in general, but like when you see cities like LA start to invest a ton of money into, higher, even if it's at the tail end of their career.
I think the problem is the middle doesn't care about it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just don't give a fuck
Well,
about
the flyover
soccer
states
here.
don't care about soccer.
Yeah, and the
like-
other problem is the money in not only European soccer but in Asia as well is insane.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know anything about
Specifically the Middle East too.
well, yeah, but like China as well.
Yeah.
The money that gets thrown at soccer over there is like it dwarfs even what European teams can pay. So there are some players who basically deliberately sacrifice their career in Europe and go play in like a league full of really low standard players, but they get paid like triple what they would at a European
Yeah.
team. There've been specific players that have basically like killed their career in exchange for like just getting paid like a
Somebody just got offered like a 200.
Ronaldo.
Or
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
He's 37, so he's right at the end of his career. But
Yeah.
like they're paying him $300 million over 2 years to play in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. Like the Saudi Arabian league is nothing. Like it's just like it's ridiculous to think that a player would consider it to be like an elite level league or whatever. But he's getting paid so much money
Right.
because these oil barons just want him there. Like, he's their plaything, you know. Like,
It's true. Like literally, it's so gross because like I don't think soccer will ever grow in the United States. Like it doesn't matter
I think
who
it'll
comes
hit a
over for
ceiling.
the retirement week or whatever they do. Like
Yeah.
it's just never gonna grow. It's too big other places that it can get bigger here. Like we're not going to. Like the MLS will never grow to be good.
What I've seen is that there's a certain subsection of American sports fans that actively resist enjoying soccer
Yes.
because they don't like the idea of a European sport getting popular in America.
I don't know if it's
So there's
because of
some
the
people-
European sport getting popular, but a lot of people have like this.
They think soccer's boring.
Yeah,
Like,
they think it's
just-
boring and it's soft and
Right.
like
Well,
stuff like that.
defensive games just don't have a track record of being super popular here. Hockey's still
Right.
very
Like,
much the same.
Games where there's only a limited amount of scoring.
Yeah.
Like, that's what people say about it. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I think why it's going to struggle because it's fundamentally it's different to what a lot of the popular sports here are.
Right.
You know. in
But
that
also,
sense.
Matt, you keep saying that you're trying not to get canceled, and you definitely said flyover states.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Are they not?
Is that what we're saying now?
Yeah, that's the Midwest.
Oh, I don't say it.
That's
I
where
fucking
Pennsylvania
love
is.
the Midwest.
No, it's not.
I
Pennsylvania's
love
in the Midwest. Yeah,
I didn't say I don't love the Midwest. I mean, I have no opinion of the Midwest, but like, you know, they're flyover states.
Doesn't that suggest that you would not want to fly into those states? You would always want to fly over
Well,
them?
it
kinda
suggests
correct.
that the majority of the traffic goes from New York to LA, which is true.
I don't like, I am definitely not PC, but I think some people could find that pretty offensive.
Okay, well, I'm sorry to all the rednecks out there that are going to get a little fired up that I'm not popping down in middle of nowhere, Iowa.
Listen,
Yeah, they
I'll
have a
see you guys.
circuit.
I did a movie, Newton, Iowa. I'll be there. I love the Midwest.
You're really in for Melissa perfectly. You're just antagonizing.
Listen, I'm saying, I agree. I don't think soccer is going to take over. We got plenty of sports. We got lots of sports.
Yeah, lacrosse is on the rise.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like soccer with sticks and more scoring.
Yeah.
It's like field hockey, but not on the ground.
And-
Nobody's ever gonna like lacrosse here.
I'm
No,
not
it's very popular on
into.
the East Coast.
That's true, and I'm not really into any sports at all. And I have gone to several soccer games in the European, really exciting soccer games
Yeah.
in Europe to really try it. I'm gonna put on the T-shirt. I was ready, and what I was shocked about was, first of all, nobody won. At the end of the game, nobody won the
It's funny
game.
'cause
I was
that's like
the
the
whole
cliche.
game. I'm like, we're not gonna go into like overtime or something. Nobody's gonna win, and then. Every 5 minutes, someone was like,
Yeah, that's
it was
the worst
all
part of it.
the time. And I don't watch that many sports, so I can't compare, but I have to say, I was disappointed.
All right, so no more ties and no more falling down.
The biggest problem with the falling down is that the rule set currently, they're looking into changing it, which is a good thing, but the rules of the game incentivize that, particularly if you're winning, because they don't stop the clock. They add on time at the end for time that's been wasted or time that's been lost, but the time that they add on, they've proven that it's never as much time as is actually lost. So the amount of time in a 90-minute game that the ball is actually in play can be anywhere from like 55 minutes to about 70 minutes.
They have the same problem as poker, dude. We have a stalling problem.
Right. So
true.
they're actually
It's a
right
human
now.
problem.
They're actually right now.
No wonder the
It's a
Euros are so
Euro
good at
problem.
it.
They're
Euro
discussing like changing the rules to have the clock stopped at certain instances. So within probably 5 years, maybe even less, soccer's going to start doing that, and I think it'll drastically change the game because it completely takes away the incentive to time waste. And most of that, like falling down and everything, people say it's like, oh, these players are just like wusses or whatever, but it's not. It's time wasting because
Yeah.
if you're winning or if you're drawing in a game where you're expected to lose, it's
all
the
EV.
rules literally incentivize
Right.
you to waste as much time as you can.
Yeah.
So when they get rid of that,
If you have
it'll
15
really
big
improve the
blinds,
game.
80 away from the money.
That's exactly what it is. It's
You know?
tanking. It's
All right.
literally tanking.
So the TD Summit and FIFA are gonna get together next month and figure out how to fucking fix this shit.
You can send them a link to this podcast with timestamps.
Right after FIFA is finished taking whatever bribes they're taking right now.
Oh my
from-
god,
how
that
much
documentary on
shit.
Netflix, was it Netflix, I think? That just
No,
did
it
it?
was on Hulu, I think.
Is it? Which one is it? Because there's one on Apple that I've watched one episode of. that's
Definitely
about-
not that one.
okay.
Unless it's
No, it's the one about the Super League. Is the one on
yeah.
Apple.
So the one that I watched was on Netflix. God, what's the name? It's
It was about FIFA specifically.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't seen that one, but I don't need to know how corrupt FIFA
yeah, it
is.
was
You know,
it
they're
was
insane.
it basically followed the timeline of the president of FIFA from like 10 or 15 years ago and
right.
like
Well,
all the
Sepp
corruption.
Blatter, yeah.
Yeah.
The insane thing about that for me is that they uncovered all this crime and all this bribery that went into awarding the World Cup to Russia and then to Qatar, and then they said, well, you can still host the World Cup. We're just going to put in jail all the people that bribed you.
Yeah. It was about the entire Qatar thing.
It's called
Yeah.
FIFA Uncovered, right?
There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah, FIFA Uncovered,
Like,
yeah.
The crazy thing to me is that they said we know that you bribed people to get the World Cup, but it's too late for us to do the World Cup anywhere else, so you still get to have the World
Right.
Cup, even though you got it through bribery.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the most insane logic to me.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. They were saying like how many deaths were occurring because of
In Qatar, yeah.
yeah, because of
Qatar was
the
crazy.
desert climate and like the way that they just
6,000
treat
immigrant
labor.
workers died in
Yeah.
Qatar during the making of the stadiums. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Wild.
Do you think this is an inevitability, though, in almost anything where there's a lot of money and
Yeah.
a lot of powerful people involved? I mean, I feel like we're seeing corruption on massive scales in basically every industry, in basically everywhere.
I don't know how true it is, but I heard a rumor of I won't name any names, but like a rumor of like a soccer match that was going against some really big money that was bet against it, like, you know, a massive underdog was winning or something like that, and they just paid to have the lights shut off just mid-game. Just turn off the stadium lights. We're done here.
It wouldn't surprise me if that happened.
They don't even have to have a winner.
Right.
We don't even need one. We just stop games whenever we want. Game's over.
Yo, could you imagine, like, what's that price tag like to get those lights turned off?
Probably not that much. It was probably like in some dusty ass little corner of the world, you know, because like the matches they're betting on, it's not like as if it has to be World Cup matches.
And the guy who has the control over the power in the
Doesn't
stadium
need
isn't
that
the guy who
much.
gets paid a lot. Yeah.
But, like, all right, so, like, I wonder, like, what that price tag could get to, though.
Sure.
Like, that could be a huge
Well, it
number.
depends
for,
what they
one of
have.
these.
It depends how much they're relying on the game.
Of course.
The problem, though, with that is that any game that gets stopped for a reason like that will be restarted at a later date, and they just play it.
All the bets are canceled.
Yeah.
Oh,
If something gets
okay.
if something
I didn't
is
think that was the
restarted,
case. I
usually
thought that
bets
the
get
bet was-
canceled depending
I
on
thought
where
the
you
bet would
bet.
stand, but I don't know the betting side of it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
usually bets are settled within like 24 hours.
I see. Okay, fair enough.
I feel like it's only tennis that if they resume again, it starts back up. I'm unsure.
And there's been allegations of lots of the same stuff in tennis recently. I think part of the problem too now is there's so much information and data tracking of things, money. It's harder to shift money, and
Also, sports betting is just a billion-dollar industry.
It's
Like
insane.
billions of
shout out
dollars.
Mattress Mac, Houston.
this, guy, this guy doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He does not.
He's out here selling
But
mattresses.
even in the United States, if you look at some of the people who have some of the largest amounts of money, they end up buying sports teams. And certainly I think there's lots of reasons for that, but I have to imagine there's probably certain elements of corruption involved in
Yeah, I
the
think it
whole
depends on it. Big shout out to Mark Cuban. He's a fellow Yinzer. He just went partners on a pickleball league out in Austin.
thing. Pickleball is popping.
Booming
Popping
industry.
off.
I need to get in. I need to get in. I need a piece, Mark. Hit me up. You know, you're busy. You don't have time to run a pickleball league. I got you.
Hey, he retweeted Andre the other day.
I saw
Maybe
that.
you can get the connection from Andre.
I'm not gonna lie. I want to take a little bit of credit for this. I replied to Andre's tweet and said, you know, huge thank you to Mark Cuban because he tagged Cost Plus Drugs, but not Cuban. Shortly thereafter,
Yeah.
quote tweet, I'm just saying, fellow Yinzers, you know, maybe we're on to something. Mark Cuban, if you want to buy the podcast, I got you.
I was hoping you were going to get a shout out from what's his name, McAfee, when he did the Royal Rumble last weekend.
Oh my god, bro! Did you see? I meant to, Guapo. You probably don't have this loaded, but if you could find it, did you see the Jake Paul,
Logan Paul
rather?
Ricochet? Yeah, absolutely.
That was insane. I might be back in on WWE.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've cared. Where are you going? What this kid thinks he's so impressive.
What are you
What is he
talking about,
doing?
though? Who is Logan
Okay, you're
Paul?
gonna see this. This is ridiculous.
Logan Paul and Ricochet prize.
Didn't know.
Well, I've heard since it happened, like they legitimately, at least one of them didn't know.
Oh yeah.
The guy he's friends with, Michael Cole, he
Yeah.
didn't know that McAfee was going to be there, so his reaction was completely genuine.
Oh, okay. That makes some sense. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Vince McMahon in general, but I think he's a genius at what he created.
Yeah, he's a great businessman, but he's an absolutely terrible human being.
Yes, it really does seem that way.
And those, I don't know anything really about it, but that was very athletic what just happened.
Yeah.
Very impressive,
That was
right?
very
I
athletic.
cannot believe the guy like Logan Paul. He's only done like 2 pro wrestling matches, I think, so far in his under his contract that he now has with WWE. I have never seen anybody with so much of a natural aptitude for being a pro wrestler
Yeah.
as Logan Paul. It's insane. Like, it's like it looks like he's been doing it for 10 years or like his whole career. So he is going to be a huge star in pro wrestling if he wants to be.
Yeah,
because
he's
of shit like
wildly
that.
athletic.
Yeah.
So
it's
you
crazy.
like, though, the WWE. You said fly over states, but you watch the WWE.
Listen, stop trying to pit me against the Midwesterners
I
in this
cannot
country,
believe
okay?
this, though. You really, I would never peg you as a WWE
I grew
fan.
up watching it. I probably watched it religiously until I was like 18.
Everybody
You
who
don't
was
really
a
watch it
teenager
now,
in the
but you said
90s
it.
watched it.
It was the boom era. I mean,
Yeah.
the Stone Cold era, the Rock, the Generation X, Triple H, all these guys like Shawn Michaels. It was the time to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got into it, like it was the biggest thing in the world with Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Like every, maybe not, but like my age, every kid grew up knowing who those two were.
Same with my generation, yeah. My generation pro wrestling was huge, even in the UK.
In the UK?
Yeah, it's huge everywhere. It's you.
Oh
like,
yeah, there's
right
a
now,
girl on the WWE too from the UK.
There's multiple.
There was a reality show I saw.
There's multiple. There's I can't think off the top of my head, but there's like a few Irish people from all over the world now. Like they're really international. They're really trying to grow in like India and China and places like that now.
Yeah, they've crushed it.
I know. Do you know who Terry Funk is?
Of course.
I know who Terry Funk
Okay,
is.
my
Holy
husband
shit.
did a match with Terry Funk.
Oh, really?
Oh my
I don't
God.
know who that is,
That's
but
hilarious.
I do know that because I've
He is
seen some
notorious
videos.
for having he's like 75.
Yeah,
He's been wrestling for like 50 years.
Yeah.
And he's retired like 14 times.
Yep.
And just cannot give up.
That's
he
like
just
every
cannot
poker
actually
player
retire.
also.
Yeah, wrestling and poker have a lot of overlaps in this regard.
Oh yeah.
A lot of retirements and then unretirements. Yeah, it's a great storyline. I think it's about time for us to get on out of here based off of how the room is filling up. But on our way out, I want to give a nice boot to the ass to one Tom Brady, finally hanging it up. And I have to tell you, as a Steelers fan, I'm not sad to see him go. This guy pretty much ruined everything for the last 20 years of me watching the NFL. Pretty much every step of the way. I think Roethlisberger might have won 6 Super Bowls if it were not for Tom Brady. So congratulations on a wonderful career. Now get the fuck out of here.
See you later.
We'll see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
See you later. Deuces.